He used to be the face everyone knew, the charming star with talent to spare, lighting up TV screens and movie theaters for years. But then he vanished. And when he finally returned, jaws dropped. The man who once defined an era looked like a stranger. Was it the passage of time? A surgeon's touch? Or something deeper? In this episode of Hollywood Discovery, we uncover the shocking transformation of a once iconic actor who left fans speechless. Can you recognize him before the big reveal? Stick around as we trace his meteoric rise, his life-changing decisions, and the mysterious face behind the fame. Heidi Montag was once the face of a generation, blonde, bright-eyed, and beaming with that California sunshine charm. Thanks to The Hills, the mid-2000s reality show that defined young Hollywood, she quickly became a household name. To many baby boomers watching alongside their kids or grandkids, Heidi embodied the golden dream girl, ambitious, wholesome, and full of possibilities. But beneath the glamorous surface, the spotlight cast long shadows. In 2010, at just 23 years old, Heidi made a decision that would forever change her reflection and her destiny. In a single day, she underwent 10 plastic surgery procedures. A brow lift, a second nose job, chin reduction, liposuction on her waist, thighs, and neck, breast augmentation, ear reshaping, a buttock enhancement, and facial fat injections. Even by Hollywood standards, it was extreme. The aftermath was brutal. The physical pain was unbearable, but the emotional toll was worse. Heidi later confessed that she no longer recognized the girl staring back at her in the mirror. The innocence, the warmth, the spark, the transformation that was supposed to elevate her career instead left her feeling lost, isolated, and filled with regret. Casting agents began to shy away. Fans who once adored her charm felt she had traded it for a plastic illusion. And Heidi, for the first time, spoke candidly about the crushing weight of media scrutiny, the industry's obsession with perfection, and the personal insecurities that had quietly consumed her. Now in her 30s, Heidi has stepped away from the chaos of fame. She's a mother, a wife, and someone who's finally learning to love the person behind the image. Her look today is softer, more natural, more real. And her voice carries a message that resonates with anyone who's ever chased an impossible standard. Real beauty isn't found in a scalpel or a syringe. It's found in acceptance, in healing, and in self-worth. Heidi Montag's journey isn't just a cautionary tale, it's a reminder that what we see on the outside means nothing if we don't love who we are within. Joselyn Wildenstein was once the toast of New York high society, a woman wrapped in wealth, elegance, and prestige. But her name wouldn't echo across the globe for charity galas or elite soirees. Instead, she became infamous for something far more haunting: her extreme and irreversible transformation. Dubbed Catwoman, or the Lion Woman, by ruthless tabloids, Joselyn's face became a symbol of cosmetic obsession, shocking a generation raised on the grace of old Hollywood beauty. But beneath the headlines and punchlines lies a story far deeper and far more tragic. Her descent into the world of plastic surgery didn't begin with vanity, it began with love. Her then-husband, art dealer Alec Wildenstein, had an unusual fascination with big cats. Determined to hold his gaze and his heart, Joselyn believed that by reshaping herself to resemble the wild creatures he adored, she could preserve their passion. It started with subtle enhancements. But slowly over the years, those tweaks turned into an avalanche: cheek implants, brow lifts, lip reshaping, eyelid surgeries, and countless injections. Over $4 million was spent chasing a dream, or perhaps a fantasy. Each time she stepped into the spotlight, the world gasped. Her appearance became less human, more surreal, like a living sculpture in motion. And yet, through the ridicule and relentless media cruelty, Joselyn never apologized. She never flinched. She stood defiantly in her truth, insisting that her look was her choice, an act of love, of self-expression, of control in a world that constantly demands conformity. Her story stirs uncomfortable questions. How far would you go to keep someone's love? What is beauty, really, when filtered through obsession, power, and fear of aging? And at what point does transformation become erasure? Joselyn Wildenstein isn't just a woman with a shocking face. She's a cautionary tale wrapped in glamour and heartbreak, a living reminder that in the pursuit of perfection, you might lose not only who you were, but who you are. Pete Burns, the electrifying frontman of the 1980s band Dead or Alive, will always be remembered for the iconic anthem You Spin Me Round, like a record. But Pete's legacy stretches far beyond one unforgettable song. For a generation raised on the early days of MTV, he wasn't just a sound, he was a presence. Bold, defiant, and impossible to ignore. What truly set Pete apart was not just his voice, but his ever-evolving appearance, a visual rebellion that stunned fans and confounded critics. What began with a simple nose job in his youth turned into a lifelong journey of transformation. Pete didn't just alter his face, he challenged the very concept of identity. He sought a look that was fluid, untethered by gender or convention, something uniquely his own. But that quest came with a heavy cost. Over the years, Pete underwent nearly 300 cosmetic procedures, lip implants, cheek reconstructions, jaw reshaping, and multiple skin grafts following surgeries gone wrong. Many were corrective, desperately trying to fix what the last operation had damaged. It became a cycle, one fueled by obsession, pain, and a refusal to surrender. Doctors warned him of the risks: infections, disfigurement, even death. Still, Pete pressed on. He would appear on TV wrapped in bandages, speaking candidly, even proudly, about his latest surgery. His openness was both unsettling and captivating, forcing viewers to confront uncomfortable truths about beauty, fame, and the search for self. When Pete passed away suddenly in 2016 at the age of 57 from cardiac arrest, the world lost more than a pop star. It lost a complicated, courageous, and often misunderstood figure. To some, he was a cautionary tale, a warning about the dark side of fame and cosmetic excess. To others, he was a fearless trailblazer who dared to live life on his own terms. No matter where you stand, Pete Burns' story is unforgettable. It's a haunting reminder that the desire to be seen, to feel whole, can sometimes lead us down the most perilous paths. Lil Kim, born Kimberly Denise Jones in 1974, didn't just step into hip-hop. She stormed through its gates with stilettos and fury, rewriting the rules of what it meant to be a woman in rap. In the mid-1990s, when the genre was almost entirely ruled by men, she emerged like a firecracker, bold, unfiltered, and unapologetically sexy. Her debut alongside the notorious B.I.G. wasn't just memorable, it was revolutionary. She held her ground, lyric for lyric, swagger for swagger, proving that femininity and ferocity could coexist in the harsh world of hardcore rap. To fans who grew up in that era, she wasn't just a rapper. She was an icon, fearless in her rhymes, daring in her fashion, and untouchable in presence. But over the years, something began to shift. As the music evolved, so did Lil Kim. Not just artistically, but physically. Her once natural beauty, remembered so vividly from the 90s, gradually gave way to a dramatically altered image. Her skin tone lightened, her facial features sharpened, nose, lips, cheeks, jawline, all bearing signs of repeated cosmetic surgery. The world noticed, and so did her fans, many heartbroken, confused, or concerned. What had happened to the vibrant woman who once took over the stage with nothing but a mic and pure attitude? In rare moments of vulnerability, Lil Kim opened up. She spoke of deep emotional wounds, of years spent battling self-image issues born from personal trauma and the ruthless pressures of fame. Behind the glam was a woman who had been told, again and again, that she wasn't enough, that her beauty needed fixing, that her blackness wasn't marketable. For her, plastic surgery became more than vanity. It became armor, a desperate attempt to reclaim power in a world that constantly tried to strip it from her. But that transformation came at a cost. The focus on her appearance often eclipsed the legacy she had built, one of trailblazing artistry, fearless fashion, and radical female empowerment. Yet, through every headline, every judgmental whisper, Lil Kim stood her ground. Because without her, there would be no Nicki, no Cardi, no Megan, no blueprint for bold, brash, unstoppable women in hip-hop. For those who followed her journey, From her meteoric rise to her painful reinventions, Lil Kim's story isn't just one of fame. It's one of survival, of resilience, of a woman who helped redefine an entire genre and never let the world silence her voice. Simon Cowell was once the king of harsh truths and brutal honesty on shows like American Idol, The X Factor, and America's Got Talent. But in recent years, it hasn't been his critiques that stirred headlines, it's been his face. For fans who remember the no-nonsense, rugged Brit from the early 2000s, his latest appearance felt almost like seeing a different person. Gone were the age lines and natural expressions. In their place was a face so smooth and tight it looked nearly frozen in time, and not necessarily in a good way. Speculation exploded. Had Simon gone under the knife? Was it Botox, fillers, or something more? The internet buzzed with theories, concern, and criticism. But perhaps the most jarring reaction came from someone much closer, his young son, Eric. One day, Eric looked at him and said, "Daddy, you look like something out of a horror movie." That innocent yet piercing comment cut deeper than any online headline. And it stopped Simon in his tracks. In a rare moment of vulnerability, Cowell opened up. He admitted what many had suspected: he'd gone too far. The fillers, the cosmetic tweaks, it wasn't just about looking younger anymore. It had crossed into something unnatural. Since then, Simon made a choice not many in Hollywood are brave enough to make. He had most of the fillers dissolved. But the transformation didn't end there. That moment became a wake-up call, a turning point. Simon revamped his entire lifestyle. He quit smoking, cut down on drinking, adopted a healthier diet, and committed to long daily walks. Slowly, the man behind the celebrity mask started to return. Not the man chasing youth, but the one embracing life with clarity and care. Simon Cowell's journey isn't just about vanity or fame. It's a deeply human story about facing yourself, literally and metaphorically. In a world obsessed with perfection, his experience reminds us that aging isn't a flaw, it's a privilege. And sometimes, the boldest move isn't to fight the mirror, but to accept it. Because in the end, the most striking transformation isn't the one that erases time, it's the one that honors who we truly are. Priscilla Presley, once the picture of grace and timeless elegance, forever linked to the king of rock and roll, has become an unexpected symbol of one of Hollywood's most heartbreaking cautionary tales. To the baby boomers who idolized her radiant beauty in the 60s and 70s, her recent transformation has been more than just a cosmetic shift. It's a story of betrayal, irreversible damage, and the high price of chasing youth in an unforgiving industry. In the early 2000s, Priscilla unknowingly placed her trust in the wrong hands. She fell victim to a man masquerading as a cosmetic doctor, an unlicensed fraud who, as it turned out, was injecting industrial-grade silicone, the kind used in auto parts, into the faces of unsuspecting women. The results were nothing short of tragic. Her once soft features became hardened, swollen, and uneven, especially around her cheeks, lips, and mouth. The classic beauty millions had admired was suddenly unrecognizable, replaced by the haunting consequences of a procedure gone terribly wrong. In the years since, it's believed Priscilla has undergone multiple corrective surgeries, facelifts, filler removals, and reconstruction efforts to try and undo the damage. While some improvements have been seen, the truth is brutal. Some wounds can't be erased. And yet, what makes Priscilla's story truly powerful isn't just the pain. It's her courage. She didn't retreat from the spotlight. She didn't pretend it never happened. Instead, she stood tall and allowed her experience to become a warning to others. Beauty should never come at the cost of health, dignity, or truth. Her journey is a chilling reminder for anyone considering cosmetic enhancements, especially older Americans, that there are no shortcuts when it comes to self-care. Credentials matter. Safety matters. And sometimes, aging naturally, with grace and confidence, is the most beautiful statement of all. Though her legacy will always be intertwined with Elvis and the golden age of Hollywood, Priscilla Presley's most enduring impact may be her strength in turning personal tragedy into a public wake-up call. Carrot Top, born Scott Thompson, wasn't just a comedian in the 90s, he was a spectacle. With his blazing red curls, wild-eyed energy, and a trunk full of bizarre props, He carved out a place in pop culture that was impossible to ignore. His humor was loud, quirky, and unapologetically weird, and so was his look. But somewhere along the way, the spotlight shifted. These days, the punchlines aren't the focus. It's his face that's getting all the attention. The man who once thrived on eccentricity has become a subject of endless speculation, not for his comedy, but for his transformation. Side-by-side photos from then and now don't just show the passage of time. They tell a different kind of story. His once angular features are now fuller, tighter. The brows, once natural and expressive, now sit high and arched, almost frozen in time. His skin? Smooth, almost unnaturally so. The whispers range from Botox and fillers to brow lifts and resurfacing treatments. And yet, Carrot Top has laughed off the rumors with the same self-deprecating wit that made him famous. "If I had plastic surgery," he once joked, "don't you think I'd look a whole lot better?" It was a line that got a laugh, but also hit a nerve. Because behind that joke lies something deeper, the brutal truth about aging in the entertainment industry. A world where youth is currency, and change is either mocked or dissected. For fans who've watched the beauty standards in Hollywood grow more extreme with each passing decade, Carrot Top's transformation isn't just shocking, it's painfully familiar. Whether his look is the result of procedures, high-end skincare, or just years spent chasing youth in a culture that punishes time, one thing is certain: he's become a symbol of something bigger. A conversation not just about vanity, but about vulnerability, pressure, and how far we're willing to go to stay visible. In the end, maybe the real question isn't what happened to Carrot Top's face, but why we're so obsessed with it. Joan Rivers wasn't just a comedian, she was a storm in stilettos. With razor-sharp wit, no-filter honesty, and a fire that never dimmed, she bulldozed her way into a world that wasn't ready for loud, fearless women with a mic long before female comics were household names. Joan was already holding her own on late-night couches, red carpets, and every stage brave enough to host her. Baby boomers remember her not just for the laughs, but for her unapologetic boldness. And when it came to plastic surgery, Joan didn't whisper, she roared. Facelifts, nose jobs, eyelid lifts, neck tucks, Botox, fillers, you name it, she owned it. While others lied or dodged the questions, Joan spun it into comedy gold. "I've had so much plastic surgery," she once quipped. "When I die, they'll donate my body to Tupperware." But behind the joke was something much deeper. For Joan, going under the knife wasn't just about vanity, it was about survival. In an industry that worships youth and punishes age, especially for women, staying relevant often meant staying wrinkle-free. Her career was her life, and looking older threatened to erase both. She admitted the harsh truth many women live with but are too afraid to say: aging in Hollywood isn't just personal, it's professional. As her face evolved, tighter, smoother, less familiar, critics mocked her. But Joan never cowered. She clapped back with humor, truth, and guts, turning her cosmetic journey into a statement. Her surgeries weren't just about beauty, they were her battle armor. A defense against a world that tells women they expire with age. Joan Rivers' story cuts deeper than skin. It's about resilience in the face of impossible beauty standards. It's about using laughter to mask the pain of judgment. And most of all, it's about a woman who refused to fade quietly. Her legacy lives on, not just in her trailblazing comedy, but in the raw, unfiltered honesty she brought to everything, even the scars she chose to show the world. Amanda Leapor was never meant to blend in, she was designed to be unforgettable. A transgender woman, performance artist, and living fashion sculpture, Amanda didn't just embrace plastic surgery, she transformed it into an art form. To some, her impossibly tiny waist, porcelain skin, and exaggerated curves may echo an era of old Hollywood bombshells like Marilyn Monroe and Jane Mansfield. But for Amanda, this wasn't imitation, it was evolution. A bold reimagining of glamour, sculpted by her own hands. Her journey began far from the glitz and runways, in the quiet suburb of Cedar Grove, New Jersey. At just 15 years old, Amanda made the fearless decision to transition, in a time when support was rare and visibility almost non-existent. But she wasn't looking for permission. She was building a masterpiece herself. Over the years, Amanda has undergone countless procedures: breast augmentations, rhinoplasty, rib removal, lip and cheek enhancements, and more. Not in secrecy, but in full view. Every change, every curve, every silhouette, another brushstroke on what she proudly calls the world's most expensive body. To her, it's not vanity. It's vision. Amanda Leapor didn't chase the beauty standards of others, she invented her own. And while some might call her transformation extreme, she calls it liberation. "I wasn't trying to be the girl next door," she once said. "I wanted to be the star I saw in my dreams." But beneath the platinum blonde hair, the ruby red lips, and the flawless doll-like exterior lies something far more powerful: a message. One of radical self-acceptance, of ownership, of living out loud. Amanda's story isn't just about beauty. It's about breaking molds, challenging gender norms, and daring the world to look twice. To the baby boomers watching, she may seem like a mystery. But for those willing to see beyond the surface, Amanda Leapor is a timeless reminder. Identity is not inherited, it's created. Beauty is not conformity, it's courage. And being yourself, unapologetically and fiercely, will never go out of style. Jennifer Grey will always be remembered as Baby, the wide-eyed, fiercely tender soul who danced her way into our hearts in Dirty Dancing. She wasn't just a character in a classic film. She was a symbol of natural beauty and raw vulnerability, especially for a generation that craved authenticity on screen. But just when her star was rising, Jennifer made a decision that would forever reshape her career, literally. She got a nose job. What was intended as a minor touch-up ended up changing her appearance so drastically that even her most devoted fans barely recognized her. The surgery was a success in medical terms, but in Hollywood, a town that trades on familiarity and image, it was career-altering. Casting directors didn't realize she was the same woman who once lit up the screen beside Patrick Swayze. Jennifer later said it best herself: "I went into the operating room a celebrity and came out anonymous." That choice, though deeply personal, became a cautionary tale of how unforgiving Hollywood can be. In a business obsessed with looks, a single tweak can mean the difference between being a household name or a forgotten face. But Jennifer didn't let it end there. She quietly rebuilt. From guest roles on television to voicing animated characters, she stayed in the game. Then, in 2010, she stunned America by winning Dancing with the Stars, reclaiming the spotlight on her own terms, and on the dance floor where it all began. Jennifer Grey's story is more than a Hollywood what-if. It's a testament to resilience, to owning your truth, and to rising even when the industry tries to write you off. Her journey reminds us that while fame can be fleeting, true talent never disappears, and the people who remember you for who you really are never forget. Tara Reid burst onto the Hollywood scene in the late 1990s, winning hearts as the sweet, carefree Vicky in American Pie. With her sun-kissed smile and girl-next-door charm, she quickly became a teen idol and a symbol of youthful, fun-loving Hollywood. For older fans, her earlier role in The Big Lebowski hinted at a promising career filled with depth and screen presence. But as her fame soared, so did the pressure to maintain a perfect image in an industry obsessed with looks. Like many young actresses under the spotlight, Tara sought enhancement through cosmetic surgery, hoping for a subtle boost, but ending up in the center of a media firestorm. In 2007, a red carpet wardrobe mishap exposed the harsh results of a botched breast augmentation. The headlines were cruel, reducing a talented actress to tabloid fodder. She later admitted to undergoing liposuction as well, trying to fix insecurities about her body. But instead of peace, the surgeries left her with uneven skin, visible scars, and years of public ridicule. Yet Tara never vanished. She didn't hide or crumble. She kept showing up on film sets, on TV screens, and eventually reclaiming her space with the cult hit Sharknado. Through the noise, she found her voice. Her honesty about the trauma and the toll gave her a new kind of respect, not just as an actress, but as a survivor of Hollywood's brutal beauty machine. For those who've watched the entertainment industry chew people up and spit them out, Tara Reid's story is more than just a cautionary tale. It's a testament to resilience. Behind every red carpet flashbulb and glossy magazine cover is a real human being, navigating impossible standards. And Tara? She's still standing, flawed, fearless, and refusing to fade. Donatella Versace has never been one to fade into the background. When her brother Johnny was tragically gunned down in 1997, the fashion world held its breath. But Donatella didn't just step into his shoes, she took the Versace empire and made it her own. With razor-sharp silhouettes, opulent fabrics, and a fierce sense of glamour, she carried the brand into the new millennium with defiance and fire. But while her designs continued to set runways ablaze, another transformation began to steal the spotlight, her own. Once admired for her striking features and commanding elegance, Donatella's appearance has shifted so dramatically that it sparked as much debate as her collections. Over the years, her face has taken on a sculpted, almost statuesque quality: tight skin, plump cheeks, and full, frozen lips that seem to defy emotion. Beauty insiders whisper about Botox, fillers, laser treatments, procedures meant to preserve youth, but in her case, they've rewritten the narrative of her face. Compare a photo from the 1990s and you'll see a different Donatella, one whose power came from a more natural, effortless confidence. Today's version is louder, sharper, and unmistakably synthetic. To some, she embodies the ultimate power move: complete control in an industry obsessed with image. To others, she's a cautionary tale of the high cost of staying forever young. And yet, love it or hate it, Donatella Versace remains a towering figure in fashion. Her influence isn't just in the fabrics she drapes or the celebrities she dresses, it's in her refusal to be anything less than unforgettable. Whether driven by personal desire or the crushing expectations of a ruthless industry, her metamorphosis has made her not just a designer, but an icon. For those watching from the beginning, her evolution is more than skin deep. It's a portrait of power, vanity, vulnerability, and survival in a world where image is everything. Lara Flynn Bole once mesmerized audiences with a kind of beauty that felt almost vintage, graceful, ethereal, and hauntingly timeless. As Donna Hayward in Twin Peaks, she radiated a quiet intensity, channeling the poise of screen legends like Grace Kelly. Through the 90s and early 2000s, her career flourished, earning praise in courtroom dramas like The Practice and securing roles in major films that cemented her as one of Hollywood's most captivating actresses. But as the years passed, the conversation shifted, from her talent to her transformation. The Lara that once graced red carpets with natural elegance slowly began to disappear beneath fuller cheeks, plumper lips, and a face that looked increasingly sculpted. Speculation swirled. Fillers, Botox, fat grafts, maybe even a facelift. The girl next door softness was replaced by sharper lines and cosmetic precision, leaving fans torn between admiration and concern. In an industry that worships youth and punishes aging, especially for women, Lara's evolving appearance tells a larger story. It's about the relentless pressure to stay frozen in time, to remain forever 28 in a world that barely forgives 38. Some actresses retreat quietly. Others fight to preserve what the cameras once loved, even at the risk of losing themselves along the way. And yet, beneath the layers of speculation and surgery, one truth remains unshaken: Lara Flynn Bole is an artist. Her performances still echo in the hearts of those who remember her as more than a face. She was a force, a talent, a presence. Thank you for watching Exposed Hollywood. If her story moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you in the next video, where the truth behind the glamour continues to unfold.